Going to fly the E-flite Icon A5 again. Things have been going okay with this plane, except that it went completely out of control and crashed on the second flight. And I still don't really know why, although I'm pretty sure I've narrowed that down to being caused by loss of transmitter control now, because I stall tested it, and the stall's not bad at all, so that wasn't a stall. Anyway, I should put the, we'll start the, yeah, that's recording now. We'll start the E-flite recording. I put the E-flite in a different place. I've mounted the E-flite now entirely on the battery hatch, basically because I was getting a little worried that putting tape on and off the foam all the time up here was, you know, marring the surface of the foam. And I don't really, you know, I don't want to do that. Don't need this runner for this guy. Now, if you with the wheels, the runner is helpful to get him started, but I'm not got the wheels on. It seems like you're better off trying to fly him off, especially wet grass like this in the morning. You're better off just flying him with the floats. And, you know, he may rock a bit at first, but he should level off and get the speed up and take off once he gets going a bit. It's a bit ugly getting him to start moving. It's a bit ugly getting him to start moving on the grass with the floats, but you know, because the motor tends to push the nose down, and I can well imagine if the grass was shorter or drier, you might not be able to get him moving at all. But on this wet grass, he should work. I'm sorry I keep turning my head. I know it's annoying with the camera because it jerks the camera around, but I have to sort of see where I'm going. I don't want to walk into something. Where's the... I'm trying to find this spot on the flight line I'm trying to go back to. I stayed out there to launch him. Take stabilization.
S3X mode.
Sorry, I got stabilization on there.
6 minutes.
I stayed out there on the runway to launch him because I wasn't too sure that he would, you know, get moving. So I suppose I could have just come back and seen it. He has been getting moving pretty much, and also it's easier to see to level him when you're standing behind him. You're trying to actually, as he's running over the grass there on the floats, you're trying to level the wings so he's ready to take off. I'm actually using aileron as he's running along there to level the wings off. And I can see to do that better when I'm standing behind him, of course. I'm less afraid of stalling him now because I was trying to stall him yesterday. And honestly, even when you try and stall him, he doesn't stall easily. You have to really push him to stall him. And when he does drop a wing quite sharply when he stalls, for sure, but not uncontrollably. I mean, he just drops a wing, and you can pull him out of it pretty easily. Seemed like it yesterday. I was really trying hard to stall him yesterday. Sun's bright now. Don't know what that's doing to the cameras, but it is quite bright now. Sorry, I'm just gonna put him back in stabilization a bit to reseat my hat.
AS3X mode. Time remaining 4 minutes.
I don't know, I'm mucking around trying to do things I don't usually do there. And I don't really know how you do that particularly. I can keep the plane in control okay, but it's not down. I have really no particular complaints about how this plane flies. It's a teensy bit, it's not super responsive to the controls, and this is all in high rates. Don't think I've mostly flown him in high rates. I set up rates for him, but he doesn't seem terribly responsive in high rates. So I tend to just keep him in high rates because he's not all that responsive even in high rates, so I don't feel any great urge to put him down into lower rates. I often take planes off in high rates anyway, so I've got more control on takeoff if I need to. And with this guy, I don't think I've ever really put him down into the lower rates because it seems like you're not got massive amounts of control even in the high rates. So he's a wee bit, he doesn't respond super agilely to the controls, and it seems like you have to use a fair bit of throttle to keep him moving. So he's on the sluggish side a little as a plane, and not terribly. He's not awful. It's not like you're flying through treacle or whatever. You can fly him. He doesn't fly too badly. But,
Time remaining 2 minutes.
But he doesn't go terribly fast. And he doesn't respond particularly nippily to the controls. Oh, not near the sun. Ow, that sun's bright. You really don't want to go anywhere near it because it really dazzles you. It's not just a question of going into it. Even going, didn't get the plane that near to the sun then, but it was hurting my eye. Even with the plane that far from the sun, just with the sun in the corner of my eye, it's bright on the horizon there. Okay, about time to think of bringing him in, probably. Thinking of putting flaps on, but there aren't any. Maybe we'll see if we can bring him in a little less hot today, because I don't think he's going to stall. Yeah. Now that I'm not afraid of him stalling, I don't need to bounce him when I bring him in. I can bring him in. I'm going to taxi in any meaningful sense. I'm not going to try. But yeah, I brought him in a little hotter there, a little less hot, I beg your pardon, a little more gently there, which is more, natural, but I was bringing him in hot when I was afraid of him stalling, but I'm not so much now. So we'll turn that camera off. It's dripping a lot of water off, but the one thing about float planes is the water restricts itself fairly much to the bottom of the plane. With a plane with wheels on, the wheels rotate, they throw the water up, and you get water all over the bottom of the flight surfaces and everything. And quite often on the camera, when you've got a camera on top, especially if you put the camera on the tail, because they throw so much water up. But with a float plane like this, he's just skimming across the grass, so the water confines itself mainly to the bottom of the plane, at least, as it would if he was in the water. You're not throwing water up, because there's nothing to throw water up. And even the proper course isn't. Well, this one is high, so you're not... Anyway, there you go. Other than that, I still don't know what happened the other day when he crashed. I don't think that was the fault of the plane, honestly, I don't. I think it was something interfered with my radio control. Otherwise, I'm, happy enough with how he's flying now. And I feel, I feel I'd probably be comfortable flying him off water at this point. Yeah, he looks as if he should fly okay off water. Oh, and after all, that's what he's designed for. So hopefully maybe we'll get a chance to do that if the float fly goes ahead the weekend after next. Flight time for that flight was about almost exactly 6 minutes. Much of it at fairly high throttle. And that was on a 2200 milliamp hour. And we have got 11.8 left, so, oh yes, well, and that was pretty high throttle, most of it as well, 3.9, 3.9234, so, yes, you could go a bit higher than that was 6 minutes. I've got the timer set to 7. It would probably be okay to move the timer up. Although, mind you, I maybe won't for now, because if I'm going to fly him off water next, I don't want to cut the timer, and you've got to taxi him out on the water and things, so we'll leave it. I think I'll leave it at 7 for now, but you could increase the timer to maybe 8 or 9 minutes on a 2200.